Every year, some of the most technically brilliant software on the planet fails. And not because the tech wasn't good enough, but because the people building it didn't understand the jobs customers actually needed to get done. Today, we're breaking down three of the biggest technological faceplants of the last few years: Olive AI, CrowdStrike's global outage, and the Sonos redesign. And we're doing it with someone who actually builds this stuff for a living. These weren't small projects. One raised $850 million. One took down 8.5 million Windows machines globally. And one nearly burned a decade of brand loyalty overnight. And here's the twist. All three failures were predictable if you understand product market fit and disruption theory. Let's break down what went wrong and how you can avoid making the exact same mistakes. My name is Trevor Holmes, your host, and joining me to break all this down is returning software guru from Soft Positive, guest Michael Tsapenko. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as this really helps us get this great content out to fellow startups and innovators just like you. So, let's go. Michael Tsapenko, welcome back to the channel.
Hi, Trevor. Thanks for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, Michael. As I said, Michael is the founder of Soft Positive, a software development firm that specializes in deep tech builds, complex integrations, and making technically ambitious products actually work in the real world. I've brought him back because today's cases aren't just business failures. They're engineering tragedies. And I want Michael's technical lens on what actually happened under the hood. Michael, ready to take on our assessment of these brilliant pieces of tech that failed?
Sure. Let's go
All
ahead.
righty.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So how about we start with Olive AI, a company that raised $850 million to automate hospitals with AI, brilliant tech, massive vision, and yet they're gone. So, Michael, when you looked at Olive AI purely from a technical standpoint, what stands out to you? What was actually impressive about what they were trying to build?
Yeah, they were pursuing really ambitious goal to apply artificial intelligence to healthcare industry and to optimize operations and reduce costs of doing business in this industry. However, probably they were just not really ready to apply this new technology, and according to their chief executive, they pivoted 27 times. So yeah,
Wow.
they were looking for applying something they called AI, but nobody was sure what exactly and how exactly they wanted to apply. So probably they were in kind of research, but at a very high cost. So
Yes. From an engineering view, what makes AI automation in healthcare uniquely difficult?
automation is difficult in general in large corporations, and particularly because it faces usually high resistance from company employees at different levels. At the bottom level, from regular employees, it requires changing their habits, because usually new tool replaces existing tools, and that requires training and accepting new business processes. It's not just like you introduce new system without an effort.
Yeah.
It's like keyboard, regular keyboard, for example.
Yes.
You know that when it was invented for typing machines, QWERTY keyboard is the slowest, and it was designed to be slow. But now, almost century after that, we still has not changed the standard layout of the keyboard. We still use QWERTY keyboard, just because retraining people costs a lot.
Uh-huh.
And imagine that somebody says, okay, we want to introduce new enterprise tool, and it sounds like you want to replace all keyboards
Oh my
in the
God.
hospitals, for example, right? So that will be a big disruption for the business. So for higher level employees, it's like they're sitting on a high speed train. It goes forward, and now you have to pull uh, and say, okay, we have to make a stop and retrain all people to use a new tool. And
Oh,
people who use, let's say, standard keyboards, they don't
yes.
want to learn new keyboard. For
No,
what? Yeah, no,
no.
I
I
don't
mean,
want. I don't
you,
need this new keyboard.
yeah, I know.
uh,
It's like
so
having to rewire someone's brain after they've been doing that for 20 or 30 years.
yeah, exactly. And we faced similar issues with our customers as well. When you have a large pool of employees and you need to introduce a new tool, it's better to have your allies among them so that they will support deploying new system. But in
Yeah.
this case, I'm not sure they were in a position of having allies with those healthcare corporations.
Yeah. That sounds like
And
it.
yeah, and with healthcare specifically, another big issue or challenge is that there are a lot of norms and regulations, and you cannot just put a new tool and say, okay, we can do it this way. You have to
Yeah.
follow specific protocols and other uh, firm rules, and you cannot just skip them just because AI thinks it will be faster or better.
Great point.
Mm,
Great point.
Yeah.
So do you think that they tried to over engineer before actually validating the real workflows?
Could be, yeah. I also had an example. We discussed a project, particularly to use AI to recognize some patterns with encephalograms. And what I heard from my customer is that there is no legal foundation to use such technology, for example. So
Right.
they were engineering something. It was really cool and great technology, but it couldn't be applied in real world. So probably in this case, they faced similar issues when they created some AI tools or AI enabled tools. But when they faced real world application, the business told them, okay, we don't need it because
Yeah.
it will require stopping our fast train. It will require changing keyboards, retraining people, and the all benefits are in the future. And you know
Yeah.
how in corporations it works. Future is far.
Yes. So in your view, Michael, how risky is it when leadership is trying to chase scale before actually nailing a working prototype?
When you scale negative business, you scale losses. So
Yes.
if
Well
you
put.
don't have positive revenue per user, when you scale your business, you just scale losses. And it's a sometimes it's a just a gamble game. You may think that in the future the situation will change, but if your operational costs are not covered by revenue per user, it's not going to work even in the future. So variable costs should be covered by variable revenue in this case.
Good point. Excellent. Now,
Yeah, and what's your opinion? What product marketing specialist would say about this situation? How do you see
how
it?
how do I say it? Well, I often refer back to Clay Christensen, the professor of the disruption theory, Michael. Now, I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure that he would say Olive AI's downfall wasn't technological. It was a causal misalignment. In other words, they built a solution and they were trying to find a problem within the healthcare system. And what they're failing to understand is that hospitals didn't hire Olive to automate with AI. They hired tools to reduce admin friction in specific workflows. So it really appears to me that Olive tried to build a category, not an actual solution. So in disruption theory terms, Olive tried to leap a performance overshoot, delivering far more sophistication than the hospitals were actually ready to adopt. And that's really interesting, Michael, because we often look at the innovation curve, which is ahead of the market. And where you've got that gap, the bigger that gap, the harder it is to bring the market's expectations up to meet what the tech can do. So it's a great learning exercise for our viewers. But in summary, just in finishing off there, Michael, in short, they actually mistook complexity for value. And quite simply, the market rejected it. Hence, they lost their $850 million. Ouch.
Yeah, I totally agree. This gap between current situation and disruptive technology should be acceptable. So if you go too far, then market probably will hesitate to accept it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've had a great guest on the show before, Lucas Medicroft, who raised $3.5 million for their tech and failed. And he really clearly acknowledges that it was really down to the timing. The market was not ready for it, and the power of their tech was far beyond anyone could understand what they could bring to the table. So really good lessons there. Let's move on to the next one, because this is a one that I'm sure there would be quite a few people that quite a few people who actually experience this, and I'm talking about the CrowdStrike global outage. One routine update brought down 8.5 million Windows machines, airports, banks, hospitals, everything. So I guess my question to you, Michael, just explain for our viewers what has to go wrong for one update to take down millions of machines.
Yeah, I think the key words here is routine. The security patches is something normal in software business, and many companies release them on a regular basis, sometimes on daily, sometimes on monthly basis. And when it becomes really routine, companies and and some employees really decrease their attention. Like when you change your socks on everyday basis, you don't pay attention where's the left side, where's the right side, right? You just put your socks and you go. So in this case, if you release daily patches, it may happen that you didn't pay attention to some little details.
Yes.
And this could be one of the reasons why it happened. On the other hand, we have to admit that everything fails. Airplanes fall, doctors make mistakes, we make mistakes. And in this particular situation, one of the reasons is that it was a centralized system with a lot of machines connected to this system with low risk of mistake, but it can happen.
It
So
can happen.
one day it will happen. Recently, we saw a problem with Cloudflare. It went down
Yes.
for a few hours. Microsoft sometimes go down. Their services go down. So I think what we see now is a high level of centralization of some services when businesses or corporations depend on some specific service, and if it goes down, they stop operating. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there is no cure to this problem, at least now, when some technologies are covered by 2 or 3 big players, and in this case, CrowdStrike is also a big player in its niche.
Yes.
And yeah, unfortunately, it happened, and we have to live with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What's your opinion? What
well,
brought them to this point?
before we jump on to mine, what testing protocols should or could have been put in place to have caught this?
Hmm.
Are there any?
Well, um, I'm pretty sure they have these procedures. So usually, what company has to do is to test the upcoming release in multiple environments using automated tests, manual tests, and specific checklists of what has to be completed before releasing. But like I said, with socks, probably somebody didn't pay attention to something, and they didn't cover this particular situation with automated tests. And sometimes it's really a big challenge to make such updates. Another analogy is that when doctor makes uh, surgery without anesthesia, it's hard to make somebody do not move, right?
Yes.
So in this case, it was similar situation. So you have to do a surgery or update on a large pool of machines without being able to put it on hold and uh, disable it from moving. Very tough
Challenge.
conditions, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah,
challenging
yeah.
tasks. So
So I
no
guess,
wonder it may happen sometimes. The problem like that.
yeah, I guess for our viewers who are many startups and innovators in the early stages, would the lesson be here to, try and build in rigorous sort of testing protocols as best they can, accepting that from time to time things can go wrong?
Yeah, this story became just a big one because of the large number of
The
computers
impact.
connected to this system.
Yes.
The impact, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of similar situations happen on a daily basis everywhere,
Yep.
every
Yep.
time. But this one brought a lot of attention to itself because of the scale. It affected a lot of airports, and yeah, people
Yeah.
couldn't pay attention to the situation. And what's your opinion, Trevor, on this situation? What could go wrong, and how could they prevent from happening?
Well, I'm not going to get into the technical ways of preventing it, but what I would comment on, Michael, is that, enterprise buyers hire cybersecurity tools for predictability. When we're focusing on jobs to be done, the job is to protect with zero disruption. So CrowdStrike failed the core functional job of keep my systems running. And so this is a classic disruption theory of overshooting performance, where it often undermines the foundational job customers actually need, the most in this. Now, that's very easy to say from a product market fit, but it is that trust that the enterprises who invest in having organizations like CrowdStrike protect them. Their main functional job is to just ensure that they stay up, or 100% of the time. But I hear you're from the technical perspective, but then that's a great challenge for the technical industry or the tech industry to be able to identify how do you solve that problem, because there's an opportunity for someone to actually identify how do you prevent that? What are the contingencies that enable it to get back up absolutely instantly if something does fail technically? But easier said than done, Michael. I recognize that. Let's move on to the third one. So this is one of my favorites because I actually love Sonos, but there are some key learnings here which is very interesting for our viewers. So, Michael, what happened was Sonos pushed an app update that removed essential features users relied on every day. So overnight, the loyal users turned into an angry mob. So you can imagine just how angry customers get when they lose the very things they use every day. Bad, 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 bad. Not great for your brand. But let me ask you, Michael, how does something as obvious as this slip through?
Well, I think that's because sometimes product owners perceive themselves as a great innovators, and yeah, they introduce this disruption to the market by having really big gap between what's now and what's next. And
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
particular case, yeah, this gap probably was too big to accept by the market. And yeah, I personally faced this situation with one of my favorite apps when they completely redesigned not only UI but the workflow in general,
Yep.
and I had to stop using this app. And fortunately, these guys realized the problem, and after 1 or 2 years, they actually got back to the previous workflow and UI, and that, I think, to my mind, saved them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I often also see a situation when some button was here, now it's there, now it's there, particularly with Atlassian and Jira, and I'm like, where is my button? I have to do
Yes.
my job,
I
not looking
know.
for buttons.
It drives me
Yeah.
mad. So
Um,
so Michael, do you see it as a technical oversight or a culture failure?
I think it's more cultural or business failure because in this particular case, I usually recommend business to start a new product rather than putting at risk a current user base, because current users subscribed to another product which they bought and
Mm.
they knew what it is. When your new product is too disruptive, it's just like a new product, another
Yeah.
one, and there is no guarantee that someone will buy from existing user base.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
it's like you are, and unfortunately, in software business, you cannot build a product which will not sell itself. Let's put it
Mm.
this way: like you are
Yeah.
creating a piece of art, you put it in gallery, and you wait for a buyer. In
Yes.
software, it doesn't work like that. You have to create something which will be bought
Yes.
quickly and generate revenue.
Which
And
means you
y-
really need to deeply understand the users, and
yeah,
particularly in this situation where they actually loved many of the features that were existing and then got very angry when they all disappeared. So some great learnings
I
there.
understand them. I share their pain. And yeah, once again, in this case, I would recommend to innovators, yeah, you can do innovations, but keep it separately. Just create a new product and market it separately. There is no
Yes.
advantage of your current user base.
And I guess to also allow the existing users to understand what that new system is and either add it to the
Yeah,
core features that they love or make the decision of moving over, but allow the user to make that decision themselves. So
yeah.
with
Give the decision to the users. It's always better to do that way, that you allow them to make the decision, so they
yes,
decide whether they want to use old style
yes,
or a new one.
yes, yes. So why do redesigns so often forget the basics of why users hire their product in the first place? Is it just that the tech people are removed too far away from the customer?
I think the core of this problem is not with tech people, probably more with product owners or product management,
Gotcha.
because they define what actually needs to be done and built.
Good point.
And if a product manager thinks that he is just a genius and doesn't need to listen to the market, he or she will build really something beautiful, and by design it should be accepted by other people. That may lead to a big mistake. What we discussed previously in our another session, I recommend creating a focus group at early stages
Yes.
to test your hypothesis or new UI, anything you want to introduce with your existing customers and maybe some new customers. Just
Yeah.
create a focus group and see whether they accept it or not. That will save you a lot of money and a lot of users.
Yeah. Very good point, Michael. That's a great lesson for our viewers to be able to take away.
Okay. And how do you see from your point of view what could be done better in this case?
Well, I agree. I think it is a cultural issue, but it seems that Sonos forgot who hires their product and what and for what job, right? Now we talk about, and Christian talked about this a lot, that people do not buy products. They hire them to get jobs done. And this is a classic case of, you know, what was the users who were hiring the product to do all these features and lovely things that they were very, very happy with. And then all of a sudden it was taken away and replaced with something that was totally, not familiar to them. You know, the thing is that to understand for any of our users that people are hiring their software to do certain jobs. And in this case, the users don't hire Sonos for a minimal user interface. They hire it for effortless control, consistency, and powerful user features. And that's what they fell in love with. So they get used to that and they love them. So by removing these core features, Sonos effectively fired themselves. They fired themselves from the job the customers needed to get done. How does that sound to you, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think it links us to the previous case when you said about predictability, or I would say even that any business should match expectations of users or even exceed expectations. So when people do not expect something to happen, like completely changing design or workflow, that's not expected. And that may
Absolutely.
lead to a failure.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we often talk about our launch formula process of validating across the
Mm.
8 validation points. And it's always about deeply understanding what is the job that the customer's trying to get done. What are they frustrated with? What are their problems? And if you can solve those problems into a niche market, then you've got a great probability of getting very rapid adoption. We call that the beachhead. It seems to me that Sonos, although not a beachhead, by then they had scaled and had many users, but they actually forgot those users. So I guess out of the three cases that we've spoken about, Michael, what would be a few points of summary across those three from a technical perspective that you could share with our viewers?
I think one of the key things which may lead to this situation is overconfidence.
Mm-hmm.
Overconfidence in your genius or in that everything works smoothly and perfect, like with CrowdStrike, or that your product is so beautiful, so good, it's new, that everyone will love it. Um, it's overconfidence. It's not a, it's not, I'm sorry to disappoint you, it's not coming from a technical world. So, but I think everyone has sometimes suffers from this problem.
Yes,
So
yeah,
the reality check is the cure to this problem. Probably you have to always be in a good connection with the reality. Ask your customers whether they want these new features. Ask them what they need, and then solve the problem rather than creating a solution and then finding the problem to solve. Basic
Absolutely.
things, and I'm pretty sure that most of the managers in those respective companies had MBA degrees, they graduated from college, etc., and they learned something about how to run business and create new products, but probably overconfident just let them do mistakes, make mistakes. Yeah.
That's a really valid point, Michael, and it's something for everyone, particularly the startups, as you're getting that traction in the market. Just as a point for our viewers, I've been successful in obtaining the guests coming on the show over the next few weeks, Michael. Some people from Triple Chasm, which talks about the three chasms that the startups actually go through. And Sam will outline, all the research and validation of what these three chasms are. And we're actually talking about them because when you get to scale, there's some, real elements about overconfidence coming into play, which you can't lose sight for. There's some fantastic learnings for all our viewers here, Michael. Thanks heaps for being a part of it and helping me go through with this and bringing your technical expertise to the floor. So thanks very much, Michael.
You're welcome. Thanks
Did you
again,
have
and
fun?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Looking forward to our next session. I will be happy to attend and help your clients and your friends to see the other side of doing business with software apps. I'm going to
Absolutely.
share my experience.
Well, it's always great to have you on. So for our viewers, if you love learning how brilliant ideas fail, and more importantly, how to make yours succeed, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we've got more deep dives and case studies coming that will make you rethink how you build, test, and launch your next innovation. So, Michael, once again, thank you for your contribution. And thank you for once again coming on to that Product Market Fit Guy podcast. If anyone would like to connect with Michael, I'll put his LinkedIn link in the description so that you can reach out to Michael. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I think we've covered quite enough learnings for our viewers to learn what not to do. And so take these lessons, implement them in your own strategies to avoid these simple mistakes that even the big boys get wrong. From myself here at that Product Market Fit Guy podcast, and on behalf of Michael from Soft Positive, we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of that Product Market Fit Guy podcast. Ciao for now.
Thank you.